How many songs you think you wrote for Lil Wayne?
Man, how many songs I wrote for Cash Money too, man? Ain't just that. They focusing on Wayne as Cash Money, man, baby. His
songs for Run It Down.
I never did nothing for Manny Fresh, man. Shout out to Manny Fresh, man. Real man.
Yeah, I swim with the big, so I don't have time to deal with Willie the Squid.
You know what I mean? He talking about 50% for 300,000, and I'm talking about 50% for 2 million. Now, why don't you meet me somewhere in the middle so we could do business? But you know, he ain't know how to handle business, so you know what I'm saying? Yeah, boy.
Gillie Da Kid and his cousin Wallow didn't just pop up with $1 million worth of game. Nah, they came up from the trenches of rap drama. Before Gilly was known for podcasting gems, he was out here making waves by throwing serious shade at Lil Wayne and the whole Cash Money crew. From dropping diss tracks to getting into it with Beanie Sigel, yeah, Gilly got knocked out.
But so what was y'all discrepancies at Cash Money? What made you want to leave?
No, only thing.
The bounce check? Or?
No. Cause one thing I can never say about Stunner is he paid any money he ever owed me.
Khaled said that.
He paid that shit.
DJ Khaled said that.
He ain't that's never no discrepancy I had against Stunner. You feel what I'm saying? I just saying it was just too much eating around that joint, man.
This story is wild. Way before the fame, Gilly and Wallow were making noise in Philly with their rap group Major Figgas. The squad had heads like Ab Leva, Bump J, Dutch, Ressie Rokes, and a bunch of other day one homies straight out of Erie Avenue, North Philly. They built a local buzz off raw, gritty mixtapes and crazy freestyles that had the streets listening. But just when the crew was starting to take off, things hit a wall, literally. Wallow got locked up for armed robbery and ended up doing 20 years behind bars. With his right hand gone, Gilly had to push forward solo, but he didn't slow down. After blowing up locally, Gilly and the rest of Major Figgas hit New York, ready to show they could hang with the biggest names in the game. They was spitting at anybody, throwing bold disses just to make a name. That hustle got them noticed by DJ Clark Kent, who linked them with more heavy-hitting producers. Then came the heat. They dropped their independent album, Figgas for Life, and the streets were rocking with it. That project lit up the East Coast underground scene.
Why? Because they real niggas. Yeah. You know what I mean? They used to run with Lil Wayne, fake ass. But they peep game, trying to get to some money. And you know, I don't want y'all to put them in this because they ain't, you know, this is me talking. This is me. I stand my own motherfucking weight. This is me. They was with fake ass Lil Wayne, old fake ass. And you know, they peep game, they was trying to get some of this right here. Let me show you. They was trying to get some of this right here. You feel me? They was trying to get some of that motherfucking money, man. So we don't fold this money around here. We don't fold this money. I'm in New York with about 30 on me. And I'm looking for a club to go to so we can drink Chrissy and get pissy. Holla at your boy, like King of Philly. Holla at your boy, man.
Next thing you know, they were chilling with rap legends like Jay-Z and DMX. Labels started calling like crazy. Def Jam, Rockefeller, Warner Brothers, everyone wanted a piece of the Figgas. They ended up locking in with Warner as a group and also grabbed solo deals. In 2000, Warner even re-released Figgas for Life with some new bangers. The Figgas for Life album did all right. It hit number 115 on the Billboard charts and gave Major Figgas their biggest radio smash, Yeah, That's Us. That track went crazy and even climbed to number 2 on the rap singles chart. Birdman from Cash Money Records heard it and instantly knew Gilly had that star potential. So what did he do? He threw Gilly a deal, and just like that, Gilly signed with Cash Money. Back then, Lil Wayne was still on the come up. He had just dropped his debut solo project, The Block Is Hot, in '99, and followed it up with Lights Out in December 2000. Yeah, he was already known from the Hot Boys, but his solo shine hadn't fully exploded yet. Once Gilly linked with Cash Money, he started repping the label hard. With a Major Machine backing him, it looked like Gilly was about to skyrocket and take Major Figgas with him. But before they could get a new album out, the whole plan started falling apart fast. In 2002, tragedy hit. Major Figgas member Speedo got arrested for murder. Even though the whole crew had deals, the group was big, and that advance money dried up quick. Struggling to keep up, Speedo went back to the streets hustling and selling just to get by, but ended up catching a case after a deadly situation.
And that was prior to you meeting Birdman?
Yeah, absolutely. You
must have tried to compare Birdman relationship to
I didn't, but I just, you know, when you think a motherfucker one way and then you get around a nigga and you like, man, this ain't nothing like they say he is, man.
Worse, the person he allegedly killed was the best friend of young Chris, who was part of another Philly group, State Property, repping under Rockefeller Records. That shook the scene and brought major tension between camps. After Speedo got convicted for murder, Major Figgas slowly crumbled and ended up falling apart. Meanwhile, Gilly was still signed to Cash Money. But crazy enough, he never dropped an album the whole time he was there. According to Gilly, he was deep in the studio grind, ghostwriting bars for other Cash Money artists, including Lil Wayne. But after a while, Gilly started getting fed up. He wasn't feeling the vibes at the label anymore and wanted out. He said he kept bumping heads with folks at Cash Money, especially Birdman and his brother Slim, all over one thing: publishing. See, in the music game, publishing is everything. It's about who owns the rights to the songs and who gets paid every time the music gets played. Gilly says Birdman and Slim weren't trying to offer him what his publishing was really worth, and that's the real reason he never dropped an album on the label. Then Gilly had a convo with Wayne and realized Wayne didn't even know what publishing meant. He was just focused on rapping and wasn't asking any questions about his own money. That's when it clicked for Gilly. If they weren't cutting Wayne in right, he knew he had zero chance of getting his fair share, so he bounced. At first, there wasn't any drama. Gilly thought he walked away on cool terms and a straight business. But right after he dipped, Lil Wayne started turning into a superstar. He dropped Thaw Carter in 2004 and debuted at number 5 on Billboard. Then in 2005, he came right back with Thaw Carter 2, and that one hit number 2. By then, Wayne was everywhere. Radio, mixtapes, clubs, the world was locked in. But then things took a turn. Wayne dropped a mixtape called Thaw Carter 2 Part 2. Like father, like son. And that's when he fired his first real shot at Gilly. On the track Problem Solver, Wayne threw a diss bar that had everyone talking when the beef officially kicked off. Wayne dropped the diss out of nowhere, spitting, "Man, I don't think you should really mess with me. The gun off me, urgently working and twerking it perfectly."
Can you see me? Huh? Can you see me? You blind ass motherfucker. You can't, hey Wayne, get your money right. Everybody didn't leave for nothing, man. Shout out to Manny Fresh, Juvenile, BG, Turk, motherfucking Mac 10, Mickey Boone, Gotti.
Everybody who left.
Everybody who left, man.
Hello.
Shout out to them, man.
Gilly was caught off guard. He had no idea he even had beef with Wayne. He thought they left things cool. But clearly Wayne had other feelings. And to this day, no one really knows what triggered him. Maybe it wasn't Wayne himself. Maybe it was the rest of the Cash Money crew who felt some type of way about Gilly walking away. Once Gilly heard the diss, he snapped back with a track called Warning Shots over the Cannon beat, and he went all in on both Lil Wayne and Birdman. He kicked things off by clowning Wayne and Birdman for that now infamous kiss on the lips, rapping, "God damn, Wayne Carter, you get stutter in his mouth, wish you Birdman daughter. You mention a kid and you know Philly way harder. You ain't Birdman Jr., silly, you're Gilly Jr. Ask around the town, I cover the order. If you the fireman, then I'm a cold bucket of water." Gilly didn't stop there. He came for Wayne's whole image, accusing him of being fake and selling out his publishing, rapping, "You're nothing like a G, you're more like a broad. You're Wheezy F baby, but the F stands for fraud. Come on, man, you're nothing like a threat. 4 albums in and still no publishing check." Then he made it real personal, claiming he ghost wrote for Wayne during his time at Cash Money. "I'm about to show the kinks in your armor, expose them holes in your story, the fiction in the road to your glory. You fake Milli Vanilli get slapped silly by Gilly." That Milli Vanilli line, that's a big shot. They were a 90s pop duo who got exposed for lip syncing and not writing their own music. Gilly was straight up saying Wayne was frontin', that he wasn't real, wasn't street, and needed other rappers to make him look hard. And Gilly didn't stop at tracks, he kept the pressure on through random street DVDs too. He started popping off in interviews saying Wayne and Birdman were not as rich or tough as they tried to act. Gilly wanted people to know he saw through the image and wasn't scared to air it out. Gilly didn't hold back when it came to exposing what went down behind the scenes. He said Lil Wayne once had to borrow his jewelry just to look flashy in a music video. And on top of that, Gilly claimed he was Wayne's ghostwriter for years. According to him, he wrote most of the bars on Thaw Carter and was penning verses for multiple Cash Money artists while he was in the camp.
You know what I'm saying? He wasn't getting no money, man. I mean, I can't personally speak for myself, because since I've been on Cash Money, I moved 3 times. The baby ain't played with me about my motherfucking money, but, you know, niggas ain't eating, man.
Things got even messier when Gilly started linking up with folks who had their own beef with Wayne. He popped up in a video with rappers Gutta Gutta, Kid, and Young Yo. All of them had walked away from Cash Money and had issues with Wayne too. In the clip, Gilly even shouted out other ex-Cash Money artists like Manny Fresh, Juvenile, and BG, who had also cut ties with the label. But Gilly saved the heat for Birdman and Wayne. He kept saying he dipped from Cash Money because they weren't cutting him a check. Gilly was out here writing for everybody, but since he refused to give up his publishing rights, the label wouldn't let him drop an album. Birdman offered him $300,000, but Gilly said he wanted $2 million. He was even willing to meet halfway, but in his words, Birdman didn't know how to handle business, so the whole deal fell apart. Meanwhile, Wayne was keeping it real low-key. When a reporter asked him about his issues with Gilly during a music video shoot, Wayne just shrugged it off like, Gilly, who? Acting like he didn't even know the man. But Gilly wasn't letting it slide. He kept the pressure on. He dropped another diss track called Frontin' Like Your Daddy, flipping the beat from Wayne's hit Stuntin' Like My Daddy. In it, Gilly took more shots spitting. You a lame, you mentioning my name. Teardrops up on your face and you ain't never killed a thing. Wayne fired back on his Drought 3 mixtape with the track Live from 504, throwing slick shots like, I'm a shark in the water, yep, I swim with the bigs so I don't have time to deal with Willie the Squid. And then Wayne circled back to the ghostwriting talk. He had a few more bars coming for Gilly, making it clear he wasn't done responding. Wayne threw some slick bars rapping, I advance my flow and they must like that. They like it so much, they say they write that. Barking at the dog, but I don't bite back. I ain't CPR, I ain't bringing their life back.
Depicted that since you want to be me so much, when we catch you, we gonna cut your hair off, give you a baldy. Ha! Yeah! Holla at your boy.
The beef was finally heating up and fans thought things were about to explode. But just as it was turning into a full-blown rap war, it went cold. Neither Gilly nor Wayne dropped another diss track after that. After all that back and forth, things took a pause in 2010 when Lil Wayne caught a gun charge and got sent to Rikers Island. He ended up doing almost a year behind bars in New York. Surprisingly, while Wayne was locked up, Gilly actually shouted him out and told him to keep his head up. Fans took that as a sign that the beef was squashed, and for a while, it really was quiet between them. But in 2022, the tension came back to life after Gilly and Wayne crossed paths at an event at Jackson State University. Gilly hopped on his podcast later and said when he saw Wayne, he went to dab him up. But Wayne got spooked and dipped the moment he saw Gilly. He claimed it wasn't that deep though, saying the beef was old and nothing serious. Still, it was obvious Wayne didn't seem too friendly about it. But then, Mac Main jumped into the mix. Mac Main, a longtime Cash Money artist and one of Wayne's closest people, called Gilly's version of the story cap on Instagram. He didn't just talk either, he posted video proof. The clip showed Wayne and Gilly actually dapping each other up, smiling, and then walking off in opposite directions, cool and calm. There was no running, no drama, and definitely not the awkward moment Gilly had described on the podcast. The video spoke for itself, and once again, fans were left trying to figure out who was really telling the truth. In the caption, Mac Main didn't hold back. He directly called out Gilly for clout chasing and said straight up that Gilly was lying. He even clapped back at the ghostwriting claims saying, and if you wrote the Carter U, then who wrote the Carter 2, 3, 4, and 5? That bar had fans questioning everything, and just when it seemed like the drama was dead, it fired up all over again. Suddenly, everyone tied to Cash Money was back throwing shade at Gilly. About a year later, Birdman jumped into the mix during a Clubhouse convo with Whack 100. When the topic of Gilly came up, Birdman let loose. He said he never made a single dollar off Gillie Da Kid because Gilly never dropped a project on Cash Money. Then Birdman doubled down, saying Gilly was never a ghostwriter and didn't write a single bar for Lil Wayne.
Nothing like he betrayed to me, and it ain't no disrespect to him. It's just that's just how I felt. You feel what I'm saying? Like, and it's proof. Like, and all the niggas that came in the game with him had to sue him to get their money. So that just, that shit speak for itself.
And that's where you and Lil Wayne caught smoke?
No, me and Lil Wayne caught smoke because he just dissed me on a song called Problem Solve.
But that wasn't all. Birdman said the real reason they fell out had nothing to do with contracts or business deals. According to him, the beef started after he saw Gilly get pressed by another Philly rapper, Beanie Sigel. At the time, Beanie Sigel was part of State Property, a crew signed under Rockefeller Records that was buzzing heavy in the early 2000s. Meanwhile, Gilly was with Cash Money and Major Figgas had tension with State Property already. Birdman claimed they were all in Philly out shopping when Beanie Sigel walked into the store. And right there in front of everybody, according to Birdman, Beanie ran up, grabbed Gilly by the neck and pressed him hard. No talk, no warning, just straight up grabbed him. That moment, Birdman said, made him lose all respect for Gilly. Birdman kept spilling tea, saying Beanie Sigel got off 2 punches before dipping out, and Gilly didn't do a thing. Yeah, Beanie was strapped, but Birdman said so was everybody else in the crew. Still, he didn't step in, because he figured Gilly would handle his own business. But instead, according to Birdman, Gilly just let Beanie rough him up in his own city and didn't even fight back. Birdman said that moment right there made him lose all respect for Gilly. He felt Gilly talk tough but couldn't back it up when it counted. To him, Gilly let an op catch him slipping and didn't do anything to defend himself. That's what really broke their bond. Not contracts, not publishing, just pure disrespect. Later, Whack 100 pressed Gilly about Birdman's version of the story, and Gilly basically confirmed it went down, but with his own twist. Gilly said Beanie tried to sucker punch him, but he dodged it smooth, like he was in the Matrix. Then he claimed he chased Beanie and his crew down to a bus stop and told them he'd catch up at a show in Baltimore. Nobody really knows which version is facts, but either way, the Gilly versus Beanie situation ended up playing a big part in Gilly's fallout with Cash Money. But the tension between Major Figgas and State Property, it ran way deeper than just Gilly and Beanie. That beef actually tied back to Jay-Z and Rockefeller. See, back when Major Figgas was starting to buzz heavy, Jay-Z wanted to sign them. But by then, Gilly had already locked in a separate solo deal. Even though Jay still wanted the full group, the business didn't line up. Major Figgas had 7 members, and Gilly says the math just wasn't making sense. So the deal fell through, and that's where the bad blood between Rockefeller, State Property, and Major Figgas really started bubbling. The deal Rockefeller offered Major Figgas was straight up trash. Gilly said the numbers were so bad they would have had to go triple platinum just to see a dime. That kind of deal made no sense, especially for a group with 7 members. They realized they could make way more money sticking to their solo deals. But Jay-Z, he wasn't feeling that at all. Word is he already had the bag ready and didn't want to return it. So instead of just letting it go, Jay made a bold move. He went and signed State Property instead. Here's the twist. State Property wasn't even a real group at the time. Most of those rappers didn't even really know each other like that. But Jay wanted a squad out of Philly to fill the spot Major Figgas walked away from, so he threw Beanie Sigel together with guys like Freeway, Petey Crack, and Young Chris, and boom, State Property was born. That's when the tension started bubbling. Gilly and the rest of Major Figgas felt like State Property was biting their whole wave. They watched another group take the exact same deal that was originally meant for them. That stung, and it lit the fuse for the beef. Things really got messy when Young Chris from State Property started taking shots at Spade from Major Figgas. Now here's the thing, Chris and Spade were from the same Philly hood and knew a lot of the same people. But Chris heard one of Spade's songs and thought it was a sneak diss. So what did he do? He went on the radio with the rest of State Property and dissed Spade live in a freestyle. Major Figgas clapped right back. Spade and the crew hit the radio too and went in on State Property, and the shots kept flying back and forth. Then it hit a boiling point. Beanie Sigel himself called into a radio station while Gilly was live on the air. The energy got crazy fast. They both started yelling at each other. Straight chaos live on Philly radio. Gilly even claimed he pulled up to Beanie's own hood and straight up embarrassed him in front of his own people. He said Beanie wasn't really built like that, calling him a nobody before rap and saying folks just hyped him up to be tougher than he really was. That's what led to the infamous moment when Beanie ran up on Gilly while he was out shopping with Birdman. Gilly had been talking heavy on the radio, but according to Birdman, when things got real, Gilly folded. That moment sealed it for Birdman. He said Gilly wasn't really cut out for that street image, and he never took him serious again as a street rapper after that. Still, despite being blackballed by both Cash Money and Jay-Z, Gilly found a whole new lane and ran with it. His $1 million worth of game podcast turned into a massive success, putting him back in the spotlight in a major way. At the end of the day, the beef with Lil Wayne might not have been as deep as it seemed. A lot of it looked like a big misunderstanding that spiraled out of control. But now that Birdman aired out that story about Gilly allegedly getting handled by Beanie Sigel, people are left wondering, is that old Cash Money beef ever really dead? If you made it this far, hit that like, subscribe, and share the video. Drop a comment and let us know whose side you're on, Gilly or Cash Money. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.